welcome back. I'm so happy you can be here to join me today. If you're new around here, I hope you will consider hitting the subscribe button to join our crafty little family. For today's project, we are going to be creating this fun and festive Patriotic memory decks card. So this is perfect for all of the summer holidays, especially the upcoming 4th of July. I'm combining some pattern paper layers with some stamped and hand-colored images. These are the fairies from Hello Bluebird. So stick with me and we will make this together. So here's the inspiration for my memory decks card today. These cute little fairies are from Hello Bluebird. I colored them with some very patriotic, fun, and festive colors using my tri-blend markers. So I like to take my markers with me when we go camping and some stamps so that when it's too early or too dark or too rainy or too hot, I always have a little something to keep me busy, and it helps me to work ahead. So I'll have images to create with when I'm home and have more time to add them to my project. So these two little sweet fairies are in the red, white, and blue, and I'm just going to set them aside while we continue on. Now, I don't have a lot of the fancy memory decks dies. I just want to make my bases however size I want. And so I'm using 110-pound cardstock. There's 2 layers of that. I want it to be very sturdy. Then I went ahead and punched on the bottom with the Heidi Swap memory decks punch so that I can set them into the box. I don't have a box yet. I did create this one just to hold my memory decks cards in temporarily so it doesn't have the slidey bit on the bottom, but when I do get my actual box, I'll be able to just tuck these right in and they will work perfectly. So what I did was I just made this out of chipboard, and it is 4 1/4 inches wide so that my cards would fit in here without being too snug, and then it's deep enough to support the sides as well. I just made it in a neutral pattern paper that'll go with everything, and that will hold them until I'm ready to choose an actual box. So let's get started. This is going to be the back, and I want to have this covered with the pattern paper as well because I'm going to probably add some patriotic pictures or something like that onto the back and use it as a non-traditional scrapbook. So I'm gonna just go ahead and start layering on these pattern papers. So this particular pattern is a Echo Park pattern. It's called Good Day Sunshine. It is really sweet. I love the diagonal plaid on that, and it's got a nice bright background, so I knew it would go well with my red, white, and blue theme. And then here's the opposite side. I just thought it would look fun to have a layered on second pattern. I punched this one with the Heidi Swap punch, so it will line up perfectly with the punches that are already on the bottom. So here's going to be the back of my card. So now we're already at 3 layers and it's getting very sturdy. For the front, I'm going to use that same pattern. I'm lining that up on the top because I cut that short again so that I could have just a bit of room there to punch my slots out. And so here is the top, and I picked this layering pattern. This is from Authentique paper, and it is just a beautiful check, and it goes perfectly with this. I like the scale of this check. It's going to show very well when I get all the layering bits on. And my next piece to bring in is this beautiful bunting. So this reminds me so much of 4th of July and all the summer holidays. This is a photo play pattern called We the People, and I just fussy cut those banner shapes out. You can imagine how long I'll be able to be using this same pattern because it will go on many different projects. So that is a good way to get a little bit of festive pattern onto your card fronts. And I should probably also mention this is 4 by 6, so I got a lot of stuff to go on this little space, but I think I can make it work. So what I want to do is I just cut this to go straight across, and I want to put it a little bit ways down because I'm going to be adding a lot of bulky dimensional things to the top area, and I want to be able to see some of that bunting. Some of it will get hidden because obviously we're putting on so many layers, but I think that will show a little bit. And so I'm going to add a banner. This is just die cut from more authentic paper, and I'm putting one side flat against the base because I'm going to add a tag over top, but the rest of these banner portions have a foam spacer, and so what I want to do is kind of angle it like you would a banner, kind of drape it across, makes it a little bit more festive. And I'm just pressing that down. So you can see I've got 3 that are raised up and 1 that is flat to the base. So if you like a more vintagey kind of look to your finished projects, you could easily ink all the edges with some distress ink, and that would give you a very Americana kind of look for your project. So I've got many things going on in a little amount of space here, and so some of them are going to have to hang over the edges so that I can incorporate all the things. So what I really want to do is have a look at my box to make sure that I don't have anything that will fall below the top of that box, because I don't want to have any trouble with that sliding in, so I can store them properly. Here's a tag that I created. This is just some pretty wood grain, and it's kind of in a gray washed out pattern. I cut that with a stitched edge tag die. It just gives it a little bit of extra detail, and so I also included a eyelet here at the top, and I just cut that from the coordinating cardstock I'm using later so that it will all kind of incorporate in the same style. I also finished the back on these because a portion of that, like I said, is going to hang over, so I want it to be finished on the back. So this is more of that pretty bandana pattern that is from the banner up on top. So I'm just going to go ahead and add this right now. Hopefully it's not going to be hard to see what I'm doing, and I think I want to overhang that quite a bit because, like I said, there's a lot going on, but I do want to make sure that I don't have any of my dimensional adhesive showing on the back. So I think that's good. I put dimensional foam on one side, but I'm putting it flat on the bottom because then I can build some more layers. And one more time, I'm going to just move this box so that I don't accidentally come over the edge. So this one has the foam on one side and the tape so that I can have it coming out over the side. Maybe this looks good right here. I'm going to put 2 tags on this side, so I need to leave a little bit of extra room. So here's the last tag I'm going to include, and I just used the smaller size of the nested tag die so that it would all coordinate really well. This particular pattern has a glitter heart on it, so I thought that was pretty. I added twine to the first 2 tags, but I'm not going to put it on this one because I don't want it to get so busy. Now you see I put 2 foam spacers here and 1 on this side deep so that I can have it, I want to mostly have it flat and level across the top, even though I'm putting lots of layers on. So this is going to go right here, and I'm going to hold these couple of pieces in place so that I save enough room for them as I'm working along. So I've got this USA, and this was cut from a portion of a journal card that was also from photoplay paper, but I loved how that navy matched my cardstock, and this was a really nice font, I think. So I want to add that here, but I want to hold it in place just temporarily so that I have room to include these and I know where they're going to land. So I just cut out a blue star. This is just 110-pound cardstock again with that blue. And that's just going to anchor these lighter colors. So I wanted to overlap just a little bit so that it all kind of works together. And then that's up on a spacer so that it will be level. And one more thing I want to add to the side. So this is going to have some flowers. Believe it or not, I still think there's room. And so I did cut from green cardstock some die cut leaves, and I put a loopy twine bow on there just to have a little bit of filler so that it would look like a nice full arrangement. And then I've got my die cut flowers here, and I just created these with scrap that was on my work desk. So what I want to do is arrange these with the poofy side on the part that will show, and then I'm really going to go in and flatten this other side so that I can layer on that sentiment banner. And I'm just going to decide where I want all this to fall, and then I'll just go ahead and glue my foliage on. This is not going to be too fragile because it's hanging up above the top of the box, but I do want to aim most of it over this tag so it will have a little bit of support. So I'm just going to add that now. And remember, we are putting lots of layers on, so I'm going to lose some of the details on some of those layers, but so it's all going to work together in the end. So I'm bringing in my sentiment banner now, and I've got levels of spacers on the back again so that I can keep it nice and level on the top. And I want to just kind of line that up with the bunting pattern, and that gives it a nice finished edge. So we've got lots of layers of those spacers. So I'm just going to temporarily place that fairy from the left on to make sure that I have as much room as I need. And then I've got my flowers for the left hand side, and because the center of this one will show, I just finished that with a pretty brad. It's just got an enamel top on it, so it's a little bit sparkly. Don't want to cover up too much of that word. Okay, so my final embellishments are going to be those fairies, and I'm just gonna go ahead and position them where I think they'll be even and add them. I've got some different layers of spacers on these as well. So I'm using my regular double-sided adhesive tape. I have some sticky thumb dots. They're like circles. They're much more dimensional. These are from American Crafts. And then I also have my favorite scrapbook adhesive thinner tabs. These come from Really Reasonable Ribbon. And that's just necessary to get all the different depths that I need. Right here on top, so she's sort of overlapping the star and the sentiment and the tag. I'm pushing that one in place. Here is one last star for this side, and I'm just going to tuck that in. This one is on that sticky thumb, and that helps to fill in that negative space. Here is the final fairy, and I'm going to attach her to the right hand side. Okay, here's a quick editing note. I did attempt to put this in the box to make sure that none of those pieces were going to stick out from the sides and become trouble in that box, and some of them were too low, so I just went ahead and adjusted them and shifted them up a little bit, so that way I'll have room for all these embellishments that I want to add. Here is the blue fairy for the right hand side, and now I am positive that they are not going to be in the way when I put this card into the box. Okay, last couple of details I want to add are some crystal clear Spectrum Noir sparkle pen. I'm going to put that on the wings. It's kind of shimmery, and so I think that will look really nice. I want to be very careful though, because I colored those with Spectrum Noir markers, and this is water reactive, so I don't want to get in there and push any of the ink out of the way. I just want to lay down a fine layer of this sparkle, and it might not show too well on camera. It will be much more noticeable in real life, so I'm just going to work around and not go over the colored part as much. So maybe I'll start here and just work my way in. I put the shading on the inside there so that it would look like it had a little depth, and so I don't want to go over that too much. I probably will consider doing more coloring videos when I get a new microphone so that I can do voiceover. I want to be able to speed up the coloring process because I am very slow and I make a lot of mistakes and I have to start over. But I think it would be fun to show you the process of how I'm coloring the images to add to my project. So that will be coming soon. Hopefully I'll learn how to add some music over top as well, so I won't bore you and speed up that coloring process. So here is that sparkle pen. I put that on the wings. I'll hold this up and see if you can tell. It's probably not very noticeable, but I can see it. So it's much better in real life. I've got a couple sequins here too, and this is in my favorite like marshmallowy color. And so it's not perfectly white, but it isn't beige either. And I think I want to work in threes, so let's put one here, one there, and then bring one down to the bottom. I think that would look really good. I'm just going to add those with my Tombow. I think pom-pom fringe would be a really fun addition to this. I didn't think about it until it was too late, but next time I might consider putting some of that trim on. Here is the last sequin. I'm going to take some crystal stickles as well and go over the dress just a little bit on the outside where it's shaded, so I'm not as concerned with this causing the ink to run underneath because it's not going to be water reactive. And some on her as well, and maybe a little bit in her bun just to add a little extra detail. Okay, so that is all for my Patriotic Memory Decks card using my photo play and Echo Park paper and my Hello Bluebird fairy stamps. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give me a big old thumbs up and leave me a comment. If you're not already, I would love for you to subscribe. Remember, you can check the description for links to all our social media sites. And as always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye.